We're picking back up on page 66 with our two exercises, 2-4 and 2-5. Exercise 2-4 says prepare a journal entry on December the 29th for the payment of $12,000 to the owner of Smart Staff Consulting Services, Dominique Walsh, for personal use. So we go to our journal. In the date column, we put December the 29th. And then in our description column, we'd write Dominique Walsh drawing. Anytime an owner withdraws money for personal use, that's the account. And then we put $12,000 in our debit column, and then right below that we'd indent over, write cash because we're crediting the cash account, and in the credit column we'd write $12,000, and then right below that we would write Dominique Walsh withdrew $12,000 for personal use. And then exercise 2-5 is actually a math problem. We know that on March the 1st that we had $22,350 in our bank account. We know that during the month of March we collected $241,880 in cash receipts, and we know at the end of March our balance is $19,125. So what we want to determine is how much cash payments we had. So if we look on the next slide, we see that in our T account we had cash beginning balance $22,350. We had cash receipts $241,880, and those are our two debits. And we know that we had a credit that resulted in a cash balance of $19,125. So we know that our ending balance is equal to our beginning balance plus our cash receipts minus our cash payments. And we can take that and retranslate it or convert that formula into cash payments equals our beginning balance $22,350 plus our cash receipts minus the ending balance, and that will give us our cash payments. And when we do that math, we get $245,105. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our ledger accounts. This is what our ledger accounts would look like. This shows your cash account, your office equipment account, your accounts payable account, the unearned rent account, and then on the next slide we see our accounts receivable accounts all the way through our wage expense account. And then on the last page we see the remainder of our expense accounts and the different postings and all, and the ending the different postings in those accounts. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to prepare an unadjusted trial balance and explain how it can be used to discover errors. Our trial balance is nothing more than checking the quality of our debits and our credits in our ledger. And we need to prove that at the end of each accounting period, and we do that by preparing this trial balance. And what we do in the trial balance is we list all of our accounts from the ledger, and then we put if it's a debit balance, we put it in the debit column. If it's a credit account balance, we put it in the credit column. At the top of it, you would put the name of the company. Below that, we'd write the words trial balance. And then this is like a balance sheet. So we only put the date. It's a snapshot of what those ledgers look like as of a specific date. Then, like I said, in your column to your left, you list your accounts, and then you list the balances, either debit or credit, in the appropriate debit and credit columns. And then we total up the debit columns and total up the credit columns and verify that our debits equal our credits. Now this is what your typical trial balance would look like. We have the name of the company, Net Solutions. Unadjusted trial balance is the name of the statement. December 31st, 2009 is the date. And then we have just a listing of all of our accounts with their balances in the appropriate debit or credit columns, and we total those up. And on here we see that we have total debits of $42,000, I think it's $600, and total credits of $42,600. So we're in balance. However, we could have several things that could go wrong during the month. And so we need to talk about errors. A common error that people make is what's called a transposition, and that occurs when we take a number such as $542 and either write it down as $452 or $524. And if you subtract either one of those numbers from the correct number, $542, if we subtract 452, we get 90. It's divisible by 9. If we subtract 524, we get 18. 18 is evenly divisible by 9. So transposition errors can usually, they're always divisible, evenly divisible by 9. I know that I'm prone to make transposition errors, so that's one of the first things I always look for if I'm out of balance, is look for transposition errors. Another error that we can make is called a slide error, and that's when we move the decimal over one place, either to the right or the left. So if we took the $542 and wrote it down as $54.20, or we could take $9,750 and write it down as $975. Both of those are slide errors, and they're very common errors also. So now we're going to take a look at a couple more exercises. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at 3 types of possible errors and discuss how they would affect our trial balance. The first one is payment of cash withdrawal $5,600 was journalized and posted as $6,500 to the salary expense and $6,500 to credit. The next one, we've got a fee of $2,850 earned from a client recorded as to the accounts receivable as $2,580 and fees earned as $2,850. And then the last one, we've got a payment of $3,500 to a creditor posted as a debit both to the accounts payable account and to the cash account. And so the first one, where we have a debit, it says the totals are equal since both our debit and credit entries were both posted as $6,500. Remember, the amount was $5,600, but if we put debits and credit in of $6,500, our trial balance will stay in balance. Now the second one, we had unequal amounts. We put a debit in of $2,850 and a credit in of $2,500. So we're going to be out of balance. Our trial balance is going to be out of balance by $270, and we know 270 is evenly divisible by 9 because we get an even 30 when we do that. So we know to look for a transposition error, and that's what took place in this case. The next one, we paid $3,500, but we put in 2 debits instead of a debit and credit, so that will throw our trial balance out by $7,000 because we double up the $3,500. If we make an error and it's already been journalized, then we have to post what's called a correcting journal entry into our journal and then post it to our ledger. Another type of error is a posting error, and this one assumes on May the 5th, $1,250 purchase of office equipment on account was incorrectly journalized and posted as debits to the supplies account and credits to the accounts payable account. Well, the accounts payable part's right, but the supplies part is not. So to make a proper correcting entry for that, what we would do is we would debit the correct account, office equipment, $12,500, and credit the supply account where that office equipment was originally posted as a credit it for $12,500, and then we'd write to correct error, erroneous debit to supplies on May the 5th, see invoice from Bell Office Equipment Company. Now we're going to take a look at a couple more of our exercises and then we'll be through. This one, we made the following errors. It says a withdrawal of $6,000 for Cherry Rainey was recorded as a debit to office salaries and an expense, office salaries expense and a credit to cash. And then we also had a utilities expense, $4,500 paid for the current month with cash, but it was recorded as a payment into a credit to our accounts payable. So to correct these, the first one we have it in the wrong account, so we debit Cherry Rainey drawing for $6,000 and credit office supplies expense $6,000. The second one we have to make two entries because we debited we credited accounts payable and we should have credited cash. So we debit accounts payable, credit miscellaneous expense. Both accounts are wrong. And then we debit the correct expense, utilities expense, credit the right cash expense, $4,500, and that corrects that entry. So this ends this chapter. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you have a lot of luck with doing your exercise. Thank you, and have a great day.